Hello, people of the internet. Today I will be attempting to create a competitor to the Honda City Turbo. Here we have the body I'm using, just back here. It's the 1980 hatchback, and there's not much to say about it. It's not going to be a space frame. I'll probably use corrosion resisting steel for the panels, or will I? I want to keep it cheap, but on the same level I want to keep it corrosion resistant. I'll use corrosion resistant stuff for now. It'll be a galvanized unitary chassis. Save a bit of money over corrosion resistance while still having corrosion resistance. And that should be a basic start to it done. We can have McPherson strut on the front, and we could have coil on the way, but I think we want trailing arm. Weird as it sounds, it gives us a low boot, so there is a practical benefit there. I think lowest boot and most spacious boot of all, actually. So we'll go with trailing arm. Why not? Very good sporty layout here, I think. We can go with the body. Yep. Not too much to say here. I believe the same body the Honda uses. We want to move the weight back though, I feel. At least according to me. Ooh, can have crazy fender flares, but do we want fender flares? I don't know. That looks weird. I don't want that. Don't want it to be that crazy. Can have a Fiat Panda. And we can not seem to move the entire front end back. I've just made it look stupid now. Do we dear? Can we move a bumper? So this should work well enough. There's not too much I can do. It's either the bumper or nothing goes back, I guess. Can we move the tail end back a little? We can move this up. Yay, extra practicality. Extra practicality bit by bit. Although this is not an easy way of adding practicality. And it's probably not good for structural integrity either. But I am pushing for it. There we go. And the door won't move. Oh dear. I think I've got what I want though from it. Oh dear. Can we have that like so? This will probably look horrible though. If I don't style it properly, it'll probably look really horrible. Moving on. Or maybe not moving on because we want the colour. No. I want that paint. Yes. For now we're going with this paint. We could go with some modern headlights. Not that they're very era relevant at all. So we won't be going with era relevant. No, so we will be going with era relevant headlights. I think I know what I want for this. I think I have my intentions in mind. Even if it's not pretty, it should do the job. Can have two of those there, like so. Wait for them to snap in, and two more, like so. Wait for these to snap in just after I've positioned them. Come on. And then we can fit some more. Really tiny lights. Just on the edges here. Or better still. Yes, craziness. It's like a Fiat Coupe, only nowhere near as good looking. So I think if we squeeze some lights in here somehow, and maybe fit some more on the edges, we'll be done. Or at least done for standard front lights. There we go. Like so. It's so pretty. So it thinks it's so pretty. It isn't really. But don't tell it. Now, can we go with a grill? I wonder what grills we can get. I think if we flip this the other way up, it's not quite sure what to make of itself. Still, there we go. We can have some indicators though. Indicators. These can sit here. It's not where I was thinking the design would go, but nonetheless. It's pretty hideous, must be said. You can just rest in here. Lovely, lovely. We need a number plate. Can't forget that. That is far too small though. Enlarging it slightly. There we go. And we need a badge. So we need to hopefully fit one in here. I don't know if it works though. I can't bring myself to like its snout. Maybe that's half a point, I don't know. If it was chrome it might work. Chrome. Chrome makes everything better. Can we get chrome on anything? We can get chrome on this one. Although it doesn't seem to be showing up. Oh dear. What else do we have? This one seems like it may work. Flip it the other way up. If it will flip the other way up. I do know what I'm doing. I think we just need to reshape it. And smallen it. I don't know. It won't seem to go smaller. Come on, you will go smaller. Oh. There, you will go smaller. Someday. Still. Shift it down a little. Come on, why won't you just fit there? These can go somewhere down here. Like so. Come on. And we can have just another little badge in here. Like so. Doesn't look the best, but it's progress. Definite progress from where I was. So I say that. I need another one of these. Balance out the indicators with more light. As you do. Put another one on there. And enlarging it. It's truly hideous. It is a most hideous city car. Because whichever way you look for something new and something which probably shouldn't look like it does look. But it does anyway. It's about the worst shape headlights for this car, that's for sure. And there's just an empty space on the bonnet. Maybe we could put the badge there. No, I don't like that. So you can go down there again. Maybe you could go even lower still. And we will get a chrome grill, hopefully. If we can find one that's available in chrome. No, maybe not then. I'll have a lower grill though. You can just sit there. It's not pretty, but I'm beyond trying to design this thing now. I say that it's time to design the rear end. Because it's a sports car, a hardcore sports car, we need a double rear exhaust. Now this engine, or the engine should I say, in the Honda has got a 1.2 litre engine, so much like the turbocharged Ford Foxes I built. There we go. It's basically one exhaust pipe pretending to be two, but it works. Can't complain about that. Reasonably sporty. Can I change the shape of that bumper? No. Oh dear. I think I'm going to go with a complete change of design perspective on the rear. Probably for the better, so we can look away from it and avoid the ugliness. Ooh, much more modern Mitsubishi lights. They just don't work. They work less than the front, and that's saying something. We could go with a pair of these though. And I say a pair. This is going to end up a complete nightmare. That's for sure. Give ourselves a pair of reversing lights. Down here. And we've got indicators, but maybe have another pair of tail lights. No, they don't work as well as I'd hoped they have. Oh well, and another set of indicators. That somewhat represents the front, I feel. If we just squeeze them in there, maybe this will work. Maybe it won't, who's to say? The reversing lights are bigger than the indicators, which is strange. It'll work. Aerial, we can go with a little aerial. Somewhere on the back of the car. You can tell this is a premium car because there's not black plastics everywhere. As a matter of fact, could we go with chrome around the windows? Just to give it that extra bit of premium trim. So window trim, chrome. Or steel? Maybe? Nah, let's go for sportiness. Let's just paint it brutal black, but not plastic. A bit more premium type of black, I feel. But it's not quite really cheap plastic. Can have the mirrors in black as well, actually. Makes it go along with the body lines quite nicely. And black wheels, I think. Remember, it's the 80s, no carbon fibre. I don't like black wheels, though. Makes it look too ricery. So maybe we could just go with normal steel. Maybe that would look quite good there. So, we'll also have steel wheels, being the 80s. I think we need a number plate. Add that on the back. And there we go. I should cut this out, but it's been pretty funny to see the vehicle evolve. And you know, it's good to see the progress in this particular respect, I feel. I think I know what to do with the indicators. I think I can just go with two simple ones here. That's all our indicators done. Although they don't match the rest of the design logic, unless I do something weird like that. And then make them quite narrow. I guess that kind of suits the rest of the car now. Although it's not pretty at all. Maybe I could just... Ooh, I like this. I like having them done like this across the lower part of the pillars. Again, I wouldn't say it looks nice, but it definitely looks distinctive. Come on, you can go across. Most distinctive cars ever at the cost of all visual looks. We need some door handles, and I think we'll be done for now with all the important bits. Disgusting front end. I've not got any air on, but I should be fine without it, truth be told. So, we need something 80s. What looks 80s? I think these ones, to be honest. They would work on an 80s car. Switch them round. Maybe rotate them. Again, nothing can be straight and square on this car. It all has to be odd. Even at the cost of usability. Although I say at the cost of usability, those lights must be incredibly practical, if ugly, on the road. So, moving on. We are away from the ugly front end. I'm thinking it must be a 1.2 inline 3 on the Honda. And I don't know what I want. I'm thinking a 1 litre inline 4 or something ridiculous. We could have a overhead cam engine. We could probably go for 4 valve per cylinder, but I don't want that. I'm thinking actually... I've changed my mind again, yes. I'm thinking I'll go with a compact 4 cylinder that revs quite high, but without a turbo. I think this is my best option at the moment. Can make it out of full cast iron. Remember, it's still a cheap car. We can't go making it out of exotic materials. An 80s budget car probably wouldn't have an aluminium engine. At least not a full aluminium engine. That's for sure. We could maybe make the head out of aluminium. That's probably practical enough. At least if we're not going for 4 valve per cylinder. But an entire aluminium engine in the time just seemed unrealistic. Go with some forged materials for now. Maybe change it later. So much space though, apparently. That surprises me, given it's not the most space-friendly engine in the world. I believe the body is from a Honda City, actually. If I go back to it, I believe this is a Honda City body, so it makes it a lot easier to compete with it. Now, can we go through here? Yep. It's not the most in-depth engine build ever, and as I say, I won't be going with a turbo. Single point fuel injection, as I say, saving a bit of money. Some cars still have carburetors by this point, so we're not exactly cheaping out. We're just not using really expensive leading edge technologies for the time. Give it enough RPM so we can make sure we're not struggling, and regular fuel. We wouldn't be using leaded by this point. We could use tubular, but I think that's aluminium, so the development time is higher. What's the difference between development time between cast iron and cast log? Truth be told, I think I'll just try cast log. If cast log is able to make the power, then I see no reason we couldn't get away with it. Again, it's not the ideal technology, I must emphasise that, but if it works, it works. We don't want a performance intake, we want to save a bit of money there. Just see what I can get out of it, because it's only a 110 horsepower engine we've got to compete with. So, it shouldn't be too hard. I think we need a single baffled muffler, and that should be the basic engine job done. Just basically turn the fuel mixture down, try and tune it for economy slightly, and I should be on my way. Oh, come on. It's doing a bit of an odd thing here. It's a key car engine now, only far too big to fit in a key car in terms of regulations and size. But that is the basics done. Too much RPM, so it tells me. Let's see, it can't be that hard to get power in the 80s though from a 1.5 litre engine. I'm not expecting ridiculous amounts of power. So there we go, there is our starter engine. It's looking good so far. I may have to make it slightly bigger to achieve what I want, but I'm pretty sure I can. Now if I look at the exhaust, just see what happens here. Yeah, it looks like short cast is a significant improvement, so I'll go with that. Beyond that, though, I don't see any really major improvements that can justify the extra cost. So I'll be using this as it is, I guess, with minimal changes to achieve the performance I'm aiming to achieve. So I'll finish the engine and then I'll rejoin you. So here we have the finished vehicle. It's taken a different approach than I would have wanted to. I didn't expect it to end up as a 4 valve per cylinder 1.2 inline 3, but then it apparently has gone that way. Still not a turbo mine, so in that particular respect I'm happy with it. You can see 4 valve per cylinder though, pretty advanced for the time, but I have only used a 3-cylinder engine, so you only have to apply it to a 3-cylinder as opposed to applying it to a 4-cylinder. Should be a bit easier to work on as well, with only being 3 larger cylinders as opposed to 4 tiny cylinders. The Honda was also a 4-cylinder car, so it works out similar overall because that was 3 valves per cylinder, so talking 4 times 3 and 3 times 4, it's the same number of valves ultimately, so manufacturing them shouldn't be that different in terms of complexity. It is slightly larger, but as I say, it is slightly smaller. We've got a cast iron block still. I could go ultimate crazy race engine and make that lighter, but I save 12 kilograms max. It's not worth it. The head, I would say it's worth it, but because it puts it under 100 kilograms, I'm happy with this though. It's not making the power of a Honda or the torque, but it is a lighter engine and I've got 100 horsepower, so I'm happy enough with what I'm getting from it. Oddly, the Honda isn't crazy torquey. I say that, it is a smaller engine, so it would be. I tried tweaking that one last time. There we go. I may have got a bit of speed out of it by doing that, but probably not much. Or do I actually want... Thing is, I recall I wanted cam profile lower because it's better for economy and it generally perks up the power in the middle. Yeah, so 96. It's just all these little tweaks you can do to hopefully make it perform better overall. If we look now, we'll see 103 torques, 102 horsepower, not bad at all. No turbo to worry about, saves a lot of complexity and work. I have used single point electronic fuel injection because I can get away with it. If I desperately need more speed though, I can easily just stick multi-point on throttle per cylinder on and the power will start to come up a bit. But I decided it weren't worth the extra, especially since I could just make the engine larger and other such reasons, ways of making the power. I believe it maxes out at 7900, which is the best optimised point for the power. It also gives me a bit of room with the way I've set up the bore and stroke. Quality is on 0, it only needs to be, although again I could make that +1 if I really had to. The exhaust surprisingly hasn't had to go crazy massive, it just didn't want to. Normally, when I create a car, it wants a crazy massive exhaust. I'm guessing because it's a non-turbo, that's helping. Anyway, I can hopefully take the engine apart slightly in the head area, the block, and that should give me enough timing cover, front cover. And I don't know why the intake is sticking out there. Also, I think I did go for performance intake as well. There we go. It's back where it belongs. I did go for performance intake just to get that bit extra power out of it because I know I'm going to need the assistance to get where I want with power for this. Although I could probably use standard, to be honest. I am still getting my 100 horsepower target. I've also only used a cast iron crankshaft. It was all I needed. The pistons bottleneck it just as much as the crankshaft, so I didn't need to do anything fancy there. And the connecting rods, I would like to use a lesser material there, but sadly I can't because there's a massive jump between the materials and I've had to go with a higher end component to stop it blowing up. It doesn't rev ridiculously high, but it's high enough to keep me happy. And as you will now hear, it is a fun, high revving engine. So, there we go. Not much on the low end, not much down here at all, but up high is where it is all power. It's much like a later Honda VTEC engine in that respect. Making the peak power around 7,000 RPM. As I say, it's not the most ridiculously high revving engine, but it's pretty good, and it's good enough for me, and ooh, look at that, the flames just stopped. Anyway, we have got various bits to move on here. I'm not sure how much economy the Honda has. My engine's never going to be great. It's a high performance naturally aspirated engine, essentially. It's small, that'll help, but it is ultimately a naturally aspirated engine, and that's never going to help with economy. We can use a vicious differential. Should help it round corners, especially when we've got, for the time and for the class of vehicle, quite a lot of power to put down. I could go with a 5-speed. I think I will actually. I'll have to keep it in the high-end power band, and the Honda's used it, so I see no reason I couldn't. Medium compound tyres should do the trick, and 195s as well. Fit in there. Well, kind of fit in there. We can have fender flares though. It's a sport model, so we can get away with them, just to contain these 195s, which, as I say, should easily be wide enough. To be honest, I don't think I'll even need those. But I think 175 should be enough, given the circumstances. 165s maybe, I think 175 is just to be safe. But it does make the power very high up. It's not like it's going to spin them up with torque or anything. So, there we go. Try and sort you out. And at the rear, that seems nicely sorted actually. There we go. Do we want 13s? I would think we would want something a bit more sporting. As a matter of fact, I can try and find where the wheels themselves hide. I really don't know where they end up. There we go. Could go with something hopefully a bit more sporting. Ooh, I kind of like those. I know it's weird, but they look like weird 80s wheels you would get in a muscle car, low wide or something. So I'm keeping these. What size do we want though? Not too big. I think 15s were pretty good though. Yeah, 15s just work. I'm happy with them. So we can go with steel wheels. I think alloy on an entry class vehicle is a lot. Although I say that, I've got 4 valves per cylinder in this little engine, so that's a lot for the time. And have I just... oh dear, I've been so stupid. I think it's somehow longitudinal. I don't know what I was thinking. Wait, longitudinal front wheel drive. Why am I on longitudinal? You don't build a city car longitudinal. Either way, being an inline 3, I'm pretty sure it will fit, so that should be no problem. No reason I had the excess width with the inline 4. That might just be why. Still, a relatively compact inline 3. It fits in there just fine. I have to redo the tyres a bit, but again, they will fit just fine in the car. No real long-term issues have been caused by that. Just due to the way I've designed it. I think we're on front wheel drive now. We should be. Yeah, we can only get front wheel drive at this point in time. And just look at this as a ridiculous car. The wheels are ridiculous, but then so are the headlights, so is the entire front end for that matter, and the rear end, so it doesn't hurt it too much. I think I need a boot handle though. That's something that I'll need to add. It will have to be straight now. I think that's the one part that has to be straight, same as the number plates I guess. 3 parts that have to be straight then in that case. So where can we go? We've sorted the wheels. I think for the brakes, solid discs is a pretty good place to go for the fronts in the 80s. I say that, if this was Car Mechanic Simulator, they would be vented discs on the front on an 80s city car because of the way they work things out, but really, in real life, it would probably be solid discs front drums wear on a sporty compact like this from the 80s. So, 235. Are they big enough? I don't know. I think 265s maybe. Quite large, but we do want to get this thing slowed. And we can go with some drums on the way. Relatively large drums, mind. We can go with 245 drums on the way. That should do a good job of slowing this thing down. Good enough at least. I think we've got a pretty good car on our hands here. Pad type we can go with 65 I think. Slightly in favour of sportiness. And that should do it. I'm leaving the bias on the same settings. Probably best I don't mess with that. Fully clad under tray for the best aerodynamics possible. Or best aero slipperiness possible, should I say. Required cooling is 124.65. So we want that. I don't think we'll need brake cooling. So, I don't know. I don't know how much that uses though of the cooling available. I'll give it a bit extra for the engine just to make sure it runs cool and fairly and everything, but I don't think we'll need brake cooling. I think it's too slow to really require it. Do we want 5 seats or 4? I think 5. Try and make it as practical as possible, or actually, being the sport model, I think we can acknowledge people need to be held into the seats better, so we'll just have 4 sports seats, I think. Yeah, I like my premium sport and sport interiors. Problem is, premium is just so expensive. You look at material box, that's a strange thing. No, material cost. Yeah, I might as well just go with premium. Sport is designed more for high-end sports cars, I think, so it doesn't work on something like this. And with no entertainment. No. I think we'll go with a standard interior though, because we do have to compete in terms of weight with the Honda. We can't just say, right, we're just competing in terms of luxury, because we have to have the weight on our side. And we can go with a basic 8-track. I don't think we should need any power steering because it'll be so light. And we'll need some safety, so we'll go with basic safety. Wouldn't have been that important in a cheap car in the 70s or 80s. It would have been in the 90s, probably late 90s when NCAP was coming along, but not in the 80s. We'll go with very standard suspension, maybe upgraded dampers. They're not that much more than twin tube, so I think I'll just upgrade the dampers. You know, a quick, easy upgrade to make it sportier. I guess you could say the same about progressive springs, but I want to keep it a standard platform vehicle. We'll go with sport suspension. On comfort, I wonder how it looks. Yeah, it looks really like a raised lowrider on comfort suspension. Wait, am I seeing this properly? Are the rear springs actually out of their sockets? No, I don't think they are. I think it's just the way it is, where they designed it to have a lot of travel. But no, we want sport suspension, so there we go. And we've got 768 kilograms. I believe that is very similar to a Honda. Maybe a little more though, which is, I guess, a problem. So I'm going to have to do something about that. Miles per gallon is remarkable. 23.5 miles per gallon in something which is probably quite quick for the time. 63% front rear weight distribution. I guess you'll have to expect that with a heavy engine over the front wheels. Although I say heavy, it's about as light as you can get for the era, let's be honest, besides a really light city car stuff. That's just the basic city car engine. I think we want tight gearing as possible to try and levitate the speed up, if that's even a way of saying things. We can hit 110.2 apparently, and does 0 to 60 in 9.3 seconds. For the time, not bad. Although we can bring this back definitely. So, yeah, it'll hurt economy, But I'm not too worried about that. Economy is good. So if I can balance it somehow, basically get the smallest 0 to 60 time I can. I think by the time it jumps down, I'm reasonably happy. 8.9. I'm reasonably happy with that as a 0 to 60 time. Although there's no denying it could do a bit more grunt to it. And it could do with a bit less weight. So what have I got to adjust? I've got the quality to adjust. I think I'll +1 on all the quality bits. That'll just allow me to get that bit extra power from it. It isn't going to be the most mass-produced engine, so we can afford to pay a little more attention to detail. Just a little. And then maybe I'll even make it a little more reliable as well, which is never a bad thing. So what else do we have to adjust here? 104. That's good. So that's given us maybe just a smidge better performance. It's given us an extra torque and an extra bhp or two, I think. Not bad stuff. Not bad stuff at all. It's just, I'm thinking of a platform. Thinking of going back here. Making it out of aluminium is pretty unrealistic. However, could we just make it out of steel? Would that save weight? Apparently not. No, I don't know. It doesn't seem to make a difference. How about weight here? That adds weight. Weight stays the same there. Double wishbone apparently saves weight. When, I don't know. I would have to go with it all round, I guess, for it to work properly. Still, I'm not sure. I guess the only thing to do now is get more power, because the weight is competitive enough, it's just the power is not. And if the power isn't competitive but the weight is, then it's naturally the thing to do. But also, there's only the weight I can not improve, because we're not building a Lotus, so we can't just go with fiberglass immediately and say, hey, there's our solution. We have to acknowledge that it's an affordable car. And we have to rev it to 7,900, but I think we can get away with that just fine, yeah? The engine has that bit extra headway anyway, so that'll work. And can we do any of this? No. We've got 108 though. I think that's reasonably close to the Honda, even if the... Ooh, I didn't think compression would do this. Compression's helped a lot actually. But even if the torque is lower, we do now have a competitive level of power. Very nice. And again, just try and adjust all these little bits to try and pull the extra power where I can. There we go. I think that pulled a bit more on the high end, just ever so slightly. And that's all I can really do. I've pushed this engine to its limits. Regardless, I don't know, I mean, regarding its capability and what it's designed for, I think 109 horsepower is the upper limits of this engine. But I've done it without a turbo, so I'm impressed with that. For how it pushed that in the 80s, I guess. We can push that speed up, I think. And then 8.5. That is a good time to go for. 8.2 even. We are gaining speed though. For such a tiny amount of power, it's possible the power band was actually evened out or something. I like having the tighter earlier gears though, as it kind of keeps you in the gears higher end when you need to be. And miles per gallon is 26.5. Remember, the multi-point injection improves economy as well as performance. So, although it's going to be expensive to incorporate these elements, no doubt it will help the car change the suspension again. I'll probably put a bit of weight on the front. Or no, it seems to get lighter. 1 kilogram heavier than before. That's not bad though. Still, $7,900. I don't think I could have done much better than that. We can add 20% profit and still sell at 9,500, which, you know, you're getting a good amount of performance, you're getting a solid engine. It's not too bad a price, actually. So I think all that's left to do is take it round the test track and see how it does. Well, I have a time. I actually originally got a 2-minute 40 time. However, I had to keep retrying with different configurations because I was trying to beat a certain 80s icon, otherwise known as the Tortoise Turbo. Yeah, I was actually able to beat it though, perhaps more surprisingly. I've made quite a few changes along the way, mainly little changes that make a big difference collectively, and you'll see among them torsion beam suspension. I would have probably ended up with that anyway, had it been front wheel drive to begin with, but it was rear wheel drive at first, or longitudinal should I say, for some weird reason, and that was blocking me from adding it. So now it's transverse, so I could have added it and everything went fine. There's our little engine, yay! Speaking of which, we can have 100 horsepower. I was going to say 110. Oh, it is 110. Yay, my mind's being funny. And it's 110 torques as well. So we've gained on the Honda in terms of 2 horsepower. That's without a turbo. So fairly impressive stuff overall. There is 4-valve cylinder, very, very advanced for the time, but I believe it's manufacturable, because if you can manufacture a Countach with it in the same year, it must be possible, even if it isn't the cheapest technology to manufacture. There are also a few parallels between this and the Honda, so there would be. It's supposed to compete directly with it, but I'll get onto those later. In terms of torque, we are quite close, but 8 torques less. Still not as bad as it could be a lot worse than that. I mean, for a naturally aspirated engine, it does draw surprisingly close, that much must be said. Can I mess around with any of this stuff? No. That's what I said though. Between your options, forged H-beam and then there's that, it just jumps with the conrods. There's no real in-between material I can go with. I've also added some sporty bits like the lip and the wing, and a rear boot handle, which is actually weird and asymmetrical, which I wanted to go with this vehicle. Still, we are, yeah, hopefully ugly front end aside. Yeah, let's look from the side. It looks a lot better from that view. Ugly front end aside, we have got the brakes to speak about. I've got vented discs front and solid discs rear. Similar to the Honda, although that had drums on the rear, I just had to try everything I could basically to push the extra bit of speed out of this. Vented discs on the front compared to equivalent solid discs, they made 0.1 second difference to the time, which is really nothing, but I had to beat the tortoise, and that was the final measure I had to bring in. Also, I've got 195s, the Honda had 185s, and I was happy with 185s, but I had to beefy those up a little, along with using a better tyre compound, which is very expensive, in order to try and compete. It's very track orientated just because I've designed it to compete with such a high performance car. I say that, it was a 160 horsepower hot hatchback, but this is doing it with 50 horsepower less, maybe a little more, so that is impressive in its own right, I feel. I've accepted a slightly slower 0 to 60 time. It could do 8.1, but I accepted 8.3 because I thought it may be better overall for performance. Geared limited slip differential as well, I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Should improve overall. The pricing isn't too unreasonable. Alloy wheels, and the tyres themselves are slightly larger just to allow the wheels to get wider tyres on. I couldn't get 195s with any less tyre diameter than that, so I had to do that. Also, the piston count on the brakes didn't make much difference, which surprised me. We've still got 4 seats, still got all the interior stuff the same. I tried power steering, and hydraulic can improve it, but it seems pointless because for the weight, it's not really what you want. You want this car to be simple and light and chuckable, and kind of ruins the point of it, if I'm honest. The weight, looking at the Honda, it's very, very close. We're looking about 17 kilograms heavier. It's nothing really to worry about, especially not when you factor a human's weight in there. It's the weight of, I don't know, a LCD TV, presumably, so it's not the end of the world. I'd say a mid-size LCD TV probably weighs that, and downforce is still as it was. There you'll see the time, very, very quick. If I look on my leaderboard, the board fox speed is massively ahead by about 5 seconds still. It has got more competitors though approaching it. Although this isn't what I would call a competitor, it is rising. We've come below Benevolent Johnson, Me Cometh Premium, Monster and his kids, and above the Tortoise Turbo, as I mentioned. Only just though. We only just beat the Tortoise Turbo by 0.07 seconds, and we beat the Vintage Speedster and the Weissmobile. So that's not bad. Although I would have liked to see more speed from it. It's a low power entry hatch essentially. So you can't expect ridiculous levels of performance from it. You just have to expect to get as best as you really can get from it. There's a little engine slung out front like that, just behind the front wheel. It's growing on me though, despite it being a hideous thing. The maximum RPM of the maximum torque, is available at 3000 on the Honda, and yeah, you can tell I'm not really competing with that. I think it's quite a small engine, turbo, in that car. Top speed is apparently 119 on the transmission, and it makes for a 112 mph real world top speed. I'm happy with it. I mean, apparently the Honda launched in 1983, but I've launched mine in 1985, so I weren't paying attention in that particular respect. Either way, I think I've done a reasonable job. I like my indicators though, they've grown on me, just if only I could position them a little better than I already have. I think I can leave it here for now though. So I'll say goodbye until another day.